Hi all, I really need some thoughts about my current situation. Maybe I just need to read what I think I'll buy myself and see if it's one of those situations where I normally think the guy is stupid and should leave. My wife and I have been together for 10 years, married since 2. For both of us it was our first relationship. We have a son who is turning 3 in June. Half a year ago, my wife told me that she was not happy with us and not really sure why. We talked a lot about it, and in the end she blamed herself for it. We were young when we came together, and by now we've reached everything in life we've hoped for. We have a house with pool and garden, a loving family, and a wonderful son. We make more than $300,000 annually, no worries in our life. But she was unsure if everything is over in her life and what she might have missed. Nothing left to strive for. She said that it was stupid and even told me that it has nothing to do with me, as I did everything in my life just for her and my son. She told me she will try her best to get over it, but from this moment on I was very suspicious, as this is the typical story of how a relationship ends. My wife was never very needy regarding sex, and we had a good sex life for the majority of our relationship, some dry spells of 2 to 3 weeks. We're in there sometimes, but nothing serious. She always had an orgasm. We tried different things. Nothing to be missed from the sexual aspect. Now fast forward what has happened. I found out she deleted Facebook messages by accident when she forgot to log out Facebook on my computer, and a message popped up and disappeared. It was just some chatting, nothing serious, but she said she hid it because I might misunderstand it and wanted to spare us from a discussion. I knew by fact it was nothing serious, but still I was very mad that she hid it. It wasn't even this guy, and it was really just some chat. But she was afraid this could hurt us. I need to mention this, as I also felt betrayed right there. It was kind of the first betrayal. I forgave her. I told her that things like that are unhealthy, I know. Men. First some chats, then some flirting, next time drunk at company event they try to touch her, etc. She should shut off things like that as a married woman. 1 week ago, I had a bad feeling, can't really tell why. I was never the stalker type of man, but as I got her a new iPhone for our anniversary last week, I knew she had a backup on her notebook, and I decided to restore it on my old phone. And then it struck me. My heart shattered and beat like 2,000 RPM. I found a text of him saying he loves her and wants to be with her. He is a coworker, married with 3 childs. I found videos of himself he sent her. I found nothing of her. I immediately confronted her, and she confessed that she had sex with him 2 weeks ago. He was very pushy and already tried to kiss her once before, which she blocked, but never told me about. Then on another day in work, he talked her into a separate room to talk about it with her, and immediately started to make out with her and opened her jeans, which eventually led to sex. She told me she didn't know how to get out, tried to refuse half-hearted, didn't say no, and let it happen. She knew it was wrong and was thinking about how it would be the end of everything, but couldn't stop it. Waited for it to be over. It lasted for 2 minutes, he came on the floor. And she didn't feel anything. She left and sat in the car crying before picking up our son from the kindergarten. She cut off all contact and deleted everything, told him to delete everything, but he sent the messages I found. Since then, there hasn't been any contact or messages from her side, and she can avoid him all day at work if she wants to. I was furiously mad about how she could have done something like that, and told her everything is over and planned how we will get divorced. She just resigned. She knew what she did was horrible and cried the whole time while I treated her like the last scum on earth, as I was broken mad. I didn't want to see her and wanted her out of my life. She wanted to leave me after it happened, but she didn't know how and she just couldn't because she's mad in love with me. I found out before she found how to do it. We had a family weekend planned the very next day, which I knew my son was looking forward to it since weeks. My parents, her brother and wife, my nephew. So I just manned up for my son and didn't want to ruin it for him and the family and hid everything. We had the chance for 2 long talks, 3h, where I was able to listen and talk to her normally. I know she really regrets what she did, and I know she was confused with her life for more than 6 months. And seeing me breaking down and cutting her off hurt her. She wants to quit her job, do counseling, anything just to keep our marriage alive. She would sign any contract that she will lose everything if it ever happens again, anything. I always thought once a cheater, always a cheater. If I ever get cheated, I'll leave instantly. I did it right, like I promised myself when I found out. But every time I see her or my son, I just can't do it. It's the worst. With my son, I love him more than anything else, and I get sick by thought that I will just be able to see him 1 to 2 days a week if I divorce. I get sick by the thought that at some point in my life, there will be a second father figure for him if my ex-wife will find a new guy. I could vomit just thinking about it. Even more as I did nothing wrong, multiple times reassured by her. I didn't threat her bad or didn't give her enough attention. It was just her confusion in life, which he promised me 100 times is now over. She wants me. She wants our family. One mistake in 10 years. Nothing ever happened before. I always loved her. She was the one I wanted to get old with. The one I could trust blindly. My beautiful angel. And now I can't even look at her without seeing the scene. I really wanted a healthy family all the time. I want to be with my son, I want to be his father. But it makes so mad that we had a talk about her confusion in life. That I offered her to go for counseling, which she refused as she knew it was just her. She was mad at me for pointing out that this might leave her open for an affair and denied it. I saw it coming all along and couldn't do anything. And now I'm sitting here, thinking about if it is possible to carry on. If it is worth to carry on. I think everything would be over if it wasn't for my son. For the family I dreamed about. I do not want everything that will come towards me if we end this. She can't afford the house, I'll have to take another mortgage to bail her half out as she is in the contracts, even though I pay for everything. About $300K. She is only working 25h to do household and take care of our son. She will move out with my son. I can't stand it. I can't decide what I can't stand less. Being with her and seeing the lies and the cheating she did to me. Being without the love of my life. And my son and missing them. Being financially ruined. Even though I could stand that part, but it is still something to consider under non-emotional aspects. I really believe her remorse and that she has cleared up her mind. And how it happened. I don't know if I'm a naive stupid fuck and just want to believe it that hard. That's why I needed to write it down. I don't want to be a stalking control freak. I never didn't let her do any night outs or anything else, but right now it's hard for me to trust her. But I might turn into one? Can I ever trust her really again? She is now a person I never thought she could be. I'm also afraid how it might change me. There were multiple occasions where attractive women tried to flirt with me and I just shut it off immediately and went away. Maybe next time I'll be thinking, fuck it, she did it too? But that would be a betrayal to myself. So I think I should be able to handle my personality. I can't wrap my head around how she wasn't able to predict that. To shut it off. How she just let it happen. Just because she liked to get affection anywhere else too, even though she had more than enough from me. Just because she liked compliments and thought everything is a joke. So, any of you went through a similar situation? How did you handle it? Have you ever been able to look at your so in a loving way again? Am I exaggerating? It was just a small physical mistake. She could have been raped too, and I would need to live with it? Any other woman I could meet and get a knitmate with could have had a similar situation just 2 weeks ago, and it would be nothing of matter? There are people living in an open relationship. A friend of mine even drives his wife to her dates and is happy to watch. My head is just fucked at this point. Pretty much what the title says, but obviously I should provide background to the situation. Okay. I've been with my ex-girlfriend, Vanessa, for the past 5 years. We met at a convention for one of our hobbies, started just talking about the hobby itself, with no other goal in mind. We started dating. When she confessed that she liked me as more than a friend, and it was mutual, I just kept quiet because I didn't really want to ruin the friendship and I wasn't really expecting her to be interested in me. Dated for about 2 years steadily before we moved in together. Our families meshed well together, our friends mingled, and we all became one big mixed social circle. That was a surprise because we both come from very different financial backgrounds, me being raised in poor/middle class kind of finances, Vanessa and her friends and family being really, really rich. Everything was great for the past 3 years, except when she cheated. Vanessa cheated on me with some random guy. I don't even honestly know why, nor do I really care to find out. I found out a month ago because I took her phone to call up a friend since mine was inoperable at the time. First thing I saw when I unlocked her phone was a message popping up about how some guy loved that ass bouncing on him the day before. I'll spare you the emotional turmoil I briefly went through. And I'll admit, I just put the phone down, told her I was leaving without telling why, and I could see she was confused about me just going out like that. I just didn't want to do something I'd regret, because I did have anger issues in the past, but have mostly worked past those. She probably found out I saw that message, but since my phone was still in the apartment, there was no one way to get in touch with me. I literally just walked around the city for hours until I was so tired that I felt like falling asleep on my feet. Went over to a friend's place, stayed with them over the night, and the day after I got over to our apartment and talked it out with Vanessa. I told her I wasn't going to be in a relationship with a cheater. And that was that. I didn't ask for details, how it happened, who exactly the other guy was. I just wanted to go away from it all. She wasn't looking to oblige me, crying hysterically, blaming herself, hitting herself in the head because she was, and I quote, a stupid cheating C*NT, begging me not to go, that she would do anything to try and fix this. The whole thing just made me even more uncomfortable to be around her. And there was a scene in front of our apartment when our neighbors came out to see what the noise was about. I did manage to get away, but it was unnecessarily complicated with drama. She made her choice to fuck someone else, I made mine to break up because I don't want to be with a cheater. I managed to take away most of my things from the apartment when she wasn't there and hoped that would be that. But if it was, I wouldn't be here now. I mentioned before Vanessa and her family are rich. She's now using her, and I presume her family's money and not giving me a single day of some kind of reminder of her. Either I'm getting gifts sent my way at my workplace, or I'm getting letters in the mail and packages. Or she just hangs out with one friend of her somewhere where she knows I am. I have no idea how she knows, and this is making me feel paranoid because I keep thinking she might have someone following me, trying to get me to talk with her. I have tried talking with local police on the matter, but have been told in not so many words that her Family would make sure nothing would be done about it. Props to the cop for being honest about it, but they could do their job instead. I want to heal. I want to move on. But she's not letting me, and I don't have enough money to just move away somewhere else. She's already blocked or ignored on every possible media I have, but strangely enough, she's not trying to get to me through them anyway. Friends, on the other hand, are. Every friend she's got, and she has plenty, has asked me to just meet up with her, hear her out, or something else like that. But I'm so tired of that. I'm tired of this kind of shit. I just want it over with. I don't want to hear her speak. I don't want to see her. It won't do me any good. So please, can anyone here help me? How do I move on from someone who won't let me and who has absolutely both the time and money to keep doing it indefinitely? Do I give her that one meeting she wants from me? Would that even help? I'm not from USA or some other first world country, so I pretty much have no legal recourse. Update: she, 33F, cheated, I, 32M, left, but she's not letting go. There were tons of advice in the thread and a lot of support for the shitty situation I was in, and I want to thank you all for trying your best to help me. In the end, I set up a meeting with my ex's mother, whom I'd mentioned in one of my posts when I was replying to people about this whole thing. It was roughly a week after I'd made my previous post. She knew why we were broken up and completely backed up my decision to break up with her daughter, seeing how much it hurt me. It meant a lot to me, and I guess I never really appreciated her mom being so friendly with me while we were together. I explained to her what had been going on since the breakup. She only knew that the ex was trying to get back together with me, but she didn't know about her showing up at any place I went out, her friends badgering M, or the letters and gifts being sent my way constantly. I came close to tearing up because of how much support she showed me at the time. At one point she even hugged me and kissed the top of my kid like I was a little kid again. I felt both embarrassed and grateful. I just wanted space and time to heal from this shit, and I think she understood as much. All in all, after we got that out in the open, she promised me she would get her daughter back into line, to leave me alone and stop harassing me. We talked a bit some more after that, but went our own ways soon after. The ex's harassment continued for a day or two, and then it completely stopped. No messages, no calls. No sudden appearances where I was hanging out or anything. 3 weeks out and nothing from her so far. It's been bliss. It's like this huge weight just rolled straight off me. It's easier to breathe, and I'm not even looking at the door of someplace I'm hanging out at to see if it's the ex or one of her friends. I didn't even notice that myself. My friends were the ones who brought it up to me. So yeah, this is 1,000 times better than what it was like before. I did talk with my ex's mom one more time over the phone, and I thanked her for whatever she did with her daughter, and she was saying it was the least she could do. Near the end of the conversation, she said it would probably be for the best if we didn't speak anymore. It would let me fully move on from this. But that she was sorry it had come to this, and that they, her and her husband, wouldn't see me coming over for Christmas. We said our goodbyes, and that was that. So that's it, the harassment stopped. I'm feeling great and life's really looking better nowadays. 1 more time, thank you all guys and gals for trying to help me out from the shitpile I found myself in. Hello everyone. I, 34M, found my wife, 33F, in our bed with another man. A little background: for the sake of my sanity, I will refer to wife as Ellie. My best friend's name is Omar. Not real names. Ellie and I met in college and hit it off right away. When we started dating, I was not really assertive. You could accurately say that it was her showing interest and desire in me that made me really begin to value myself and work past a ton of insecurities I used to deal with. I was just a hard-working, nerdy smart dude, but had never had any real luck with women. To me, it was almost incredible that someone as smart and beautiful as her would show as much interest in me as I showed in her. We both have always been driven, which led to us separately building small businesses of our own by the time we graduated college. We moved in together after graduation and a year later married. We had, what I considered, a very strong marriage. We had weathered family tragedies, professional challenges, small and large disagreements, and always managed to work through everything, and I felt it always made us stronger. Ellie has always had a huge social circle that included a fair number of men. But I never thought too much about it, as she never did anything that raised flags, since all social outings seemed to always be as a large mixed group, and I came to trust her closest friends. As our 10-year anniversary was coming up, I decided to bring up the topic of starting a family. Early on in the relationship we had together, decided to compromise on the size of our family. I wanted kids, she wanted none, or at most one, so we agreed on having one. Now 10 years into our marriage, secure economically and thinking how healthy either our relationship was, I brought the topic up. I can't help but think me doing this may have started this whole chain of events. A little over 3 months ago, she tells me she is going out with her friends to have some fun. She basically told me she needed to unwind as she was getting stressed about me asking about having kids again. That night she comes back at 4 a.m., starting with that day our bedroom goes completely dead. In our relationship, Ellie has always initiated as much as me. In fact, on average, I would say more often than me. And for rare periods when we were dealing with traveling, I can't think of us ever going more than 5 days without some form of intimacy. She starts going out more, guarding her phone, avoiding me, all this stuff I had never seen from her before. After about 3 to 4 weeks of this, I talk to Omar, my best friend, and he points me to Reddit and I start reading. Eventually, I decide I need to do something about this, as it's beginning to put me in a bad mood. I don't just want to trust her, I like to trusting my wife. I need to trust her. Well, needless to say, I get my hands on her phone and check her calls and texts, feeling like a complete monster violating her privacy. Turns out that one of the people new to her social circle is an old high school flame from before we were together. The more I dug, the more I found. I think the fact I'd always trusted her completely made her complacent about hiding the affair better. I found out that during that party a month before, he had attended, and they spent all night catching up and ended up kissing. Not even really hiding it from her whole group of friends, and then conveniently going to the bathroom at the same time. Up to this point, all I had felt has been this giant pit of anxiety in my stomach, a part of me trying to hold on to the image of the woman I thought I had married, a kind of self-delusion. But the anger and sadness start getting overwhelming, made worse by the fact that she seems oblivious to my sudden indifference. She didn't notice I had stopped making romantic gestures. I felt like I was breaking inside. Finally, a month ago, I decided to catch them in the act, and I tell Ellie I am going to visit my cousin for the weekend. He lives 3 hours away, but instead I go stay with Omar, who has been helping me record and copy everything. I waited, and sure enough, she brought him to our house, to our bed. I snuck in the house and made my way to our room, and the sounds left no doubts. They were so into it, they didn't notice me standing there at the door recording them with my phone. I literally felt something in me break, like something in my soul snapped so hard I could hear it. My veins went ice cold, and something like a 10-ton anvil had been dropped on my chest. I couldn't breathe. I went numb. This next part one can only tell you what Omar says happened, because I only remember parts of the next few minutes. According to Omar, who I had brought as a witness, apparently I walked up to them, pulled the guy off the bed, and Omar pulled me off of him. I remember Omar holding me down on the ground. After that there was the normal hysterics of being caught I went no contact for 5 weeks and began working with a lawyer, preparing for the worst. Omar served as her contact point during that time since I simply didn't want to talk with her. Ellie contacted my family and told them that we are having problems. After the 5 weeks at NC we met and talked. She was remorseful, told me it wasn't my fault, that it was all her doing, her responsibility and her decisions. We decided to go to marriage counseling and at least explore if there is anything salvageable. Sitting here, I can't believe that even after that, I still love her. I am disgusted with myself that I have thought about her well-being, about her happiness. I especially hate that now I have to question our entire relationship. Was it just now that she got brazen about cheating, or has it happened before and I didn't bother looking far enough or was too stupidly trusting to see it at all? It's been now almost a month since deciding to try marriage counseling, and my questions to those who have already gone through this are the following. 1. Is it possible to reconcile without feeling that you lose some self-respect? 2. How long does the anger to sadness to numbness, rinse and repeat cycle last? I'm getting exhausted of the constant emotional roller coaster. 3. I find myself really loathing the whole idea of having to essentially be on the constant lookout. Is that a sign of me wanting out or just me being exhausted, 'cause I honestly can't tell? I'll take any advice, honestly. I love her, I've been head over heels for her since we met back in college. I want to work it out. Is it actually possible, and if it is, will it ever resemble what it used to be even remotely?